What's up, fight fans? Greetings from the Wrestleverse. This is Tijon, your host, and it's time to take it to the ring. All right, so man, this is one that I could not wait to get into. Honestly, I was so ready to talk about this. If you've watched anything that I've done, like at all, since I started watching GCW, you already know how I feel about it. I've been waiting. I'm so glad I got to catch it. Yo, last night's event, GCW, believe me, this is the first part of their weekend series. We got another one tomorrow that I'm really excited for. But man, this one was awesome. Like, they wow me every time. Like since I started watching, I'm so mad that I got into it so late. And again, man, I gotta thank Tommy Mac, man. Like, thank you for putting me on. This promotion is fantastic. Anybody who hasn't started watching it, you have to give it a chance, man. It's awesome. It's a great promotion. They are intense. They are brutal. If you miss the WWF, that 90s style wrestling, that attitude era, all that, this is your promotion, man. GCW has it. More than AEW, more than any other promotion. And I'll stake my claim and I'll die on that hill. GCW is that promotion. It is fantastic and I love it. And if you give it a chance, I promise you'll love it too. But let's get right into it, man. So the very first match was a tag team match against the Broscos and SAT. Now, this was a really great way to start it out. Like, these guys are extremely fast paced, even for their size. Like, all four of them, like, they were moving extremely quick, you know, in their match, regardless of how big they are. And all of them are pretty stout dudes. I mean, SAT is definitely bigger, and the Broscos are more athletic looking. Don't get it twisted, man. Like, they put on a very great performance, man. I mean, this one was a real impressive showing by SAT. Mark Briscoe actually tried to do this like sunset slam and got caught and slammed on the back of his head like he was just a child. It was crazy. He got blasted through a door. Jay then, the brother came out and responded by throwing a chair right at the SAT. I don't remember their names. I wish I did. But man, it was really wild. Like, and that was just the beginning. This was a really long match. If there's anything that I could take away from this promotion, it's their matches run very, very long. Um, I don't think that that's always a bad thing, but to be completely honest, I'm used to WWE and stuff now. I'm used to the matches being what, 5, 10 minutes. These matches run like 20 minutes, it feels like every single one from the jump. So it's like, yeah, like buckle your seatbelts because you're gonna be in for a ride every single time. And they're entertaining, don't get me wrong. I'm just not used to it, but I have a great time with it. But getting back into it, man, like I said, man, they used everything in their like arsenal. Anything that was available to them, you can see them pulling doors from the audience. Like, it was really amazing to watch. I had a great time watching it, and I think that this was like the perfect way to start out the night because it just, like, that first match is so important when you set the tone with an extremely exciting match. Fans get a taste or an idea of what's in store for the rest of the night. And truly, they lived up to the hype. And man, like, it was awesome. I mean, you got to see crowd interaction. Like, they were just throwing SAT in the crowd, and like, they were just using everything in their arsenal because everything is so up close and personal in these indies. And I don't even really consider GCW to be an indie anymore. It has such a great following, man. It's like, if you haven't jumped on it yet, you're late. I know I'm late. I can admit that. But man, like, this is what everybody in that missed our era has gravitated to, man. And it shows. It's a super fantastic promotion. They run all their fights exactly as they should. It scratches that itch. And I was honestly confused about this because it was Will Maximo, apparently the youngest brother of SAT. was under the ring, just there, I guess as like a cheat code or whatever. And so they discovered that. So there was like nothing that could be done there. But SAT kind of still finally got it together and started to get some kind of momentum in their match. It took a little bit, but they really had a nice showing. It was very, very impressive with what they were able to do because the Bosco brothers are very, very good. And these guys pushed each other to the brink. Like both of them, everybody, all four of them were very like fatigued and ran out of options with each other. If I'm being completely honest, like it was like we just had to figure out what else we need to do to pin them. And that was on both sides because neither side was trying to give up. Clearly, there was a lot of pride. They all know each other and nobody wanted to lose. That's what it really felt like. But man, they put on a great show. It was never boring. And for it being the first match, I know I keep lamenting on it, but for it to be the first match, this was one hell of a statement, man. It was awesome. It was so great. And man, this double, like, what was it? This double Spanish fly kind of move that they did on Mark Briscoe was crazy, man. It was so like wild because SAT barely did anything in this fight. If we're being real, the Briscoes took over a lot of this fight. But like SAT did a very good job of when they were able to capitalize, they did. What's up, Keith? I didn't see you in the last few ones. Briscoe brothers are one of the craziest tag teams. Yes, they are. I'm so mad I got in on them late, man. They deserve to be in the big leagues. That is not a stretch. The Briscoe brothers are awesome. I love watching them, and I mean, it shows they're super tough. I mean, Mark endured this slam that he got, and I mean, he was kind of a non-factor though after this, and Jay had to step in. Jay's the older one, and Jay came in, and they like did like this devastating pile driver for the pin, got the win. It was awesome, man. These two as a tag team are ferocious. I love it. I love it. And I feel like honestly, the talent that's in this, every single person or almost every single person in this could go into other promotions that may pay better. I have no idea what GCW pays, but feel like in the bigger ones, they would be big names, huge names. But it's the fact of the vibe that you get from GCW that can't be replaced. You're gonna give up a whole lot if you switch from GCW to a bigger promotion like WWE or anything like that, anything televised. So I love the fact that, GCW kind of stays in its lane and does the pay-per-views only and does, the more quieter route because if you're a real wrestling fan, this is what you're gonna want to watch. And I'm telling you, GCW is that thing. And I'm only pushing it so much because I know how late I am. If I'm being completely honest. And I just want to not feel as bad for being as late. But I also love how much respect they show each other. Like after every match almost in every single scenario, you see them embrace each other because it is great matches. You don't see that in WWE or anything like that. Like where they're like, this was really good. Like we don't really hate each other. It's all love. Like we just want to put on a show. And I honestly love that because at the end of the day, it's a fight. You leave everything in the ring. There's no outside drama. And you don't see that often in this promotion. Yeah, there's a little bit, and we will touch on some of that backstage drama, but for the most part, you will see a lot of respect being shown. And I'm a big, big fan of that. It's a breath of fresh air from a lot of other promotions. But next fight I want to get into Jimmy Lloyd and Blake Christian. Now, again, if you have watched any of my like any of my things that I have done so far, any recaps, reviews that I have done on GCW, I'm a big fan of Blake Christian. Blake Christian is a dog, and he showed out again this time. But Jimmy Lloyd, don't get it twisted, he had a great showing as well. But it was more of the same from Blake Christian. High flying ability, agile. It's that agility versus strength kind of narrative because Jimmy Lloyd is way bigger, way stockier than Blake Christian, but Blake Christian has all of the tricks. It's like if you don't know how to stop it, it's gonna be a wrap for you, man. And that's really what it came down to. And once again, Jimmy Lloyd did a great deal of damage to Blade Christian. Don't get it twisted. It's just be a meathead when you face somebody like Blake Christian. And that's a fair thing to say, honestly. And what Jimmy Lloyd was really a meathead. He just was trying to do damage, wasn't thinking while doing the match, was just trying to hurt. Blake Christian thought and was really methodical, really going after his left leg. That was really the telltale sign of how the fight was going to go. Mind you, it was still extremely entertaining, but the main thing that separated them was going after that leg, chopping down that tree. And again, like it didn't mean that Blake Christian didn't get his fair share of damage. I mean, look at this slam that he had to endure. I mean, anybody else, any normal guy, there would be no fight after this, no matter what kind of canvas you land on. That is a devastating. You can see the malicious intent in how hard he slammed Blake Christian, but he endured it, kept going after that leg until eventually, Blake Christian had like all the cards and won that match. It was very symbiotic of yeah, wow, yeah, no. I mean, I just saw the Sami Zayn comment, but yeah, no, that's exactly what it reminded me of. That Sami Zayn and Braun Strowman on Raw in 2016. It's like you have to chop down that tree. Excuse me. It's like when you go against somebody bigger and stronger, you need to think because the bigger guy is just like, I'm just gonna beat the hell out of this guy. That's obviously what they're gonna think, but what they're not gonna do is use their brains, because why would you? If you're a way bigger fighter, you just think you're gonna squash this guy. You're just gonna smash him, and that's gonna be it. As the smaller fighter, there's a lot more mental involved. There's a lot more thinking. How can I beat this guy? How can I break this guy? And a lot of the time, it's chopping that tree. You go after the legs because a lot of guys are top heavy. And that was kind of the case here. I'm not saying that Jimmy Lloyd is weak in the legs, because he's definitely not, but he definitely doesn't have as much strength in his legs. And Blake Christian was able to target that and get the win. That's a smart fight. That's a smart fighter. And again, that's why I love watching him, man. I think that's why a lot of us love watching him, because even if the odds may be stacked against him on paper, he's just as methodical, and he's able to switch those odds into his favor. So, yeah, you got to keep watching Blake Christian, man. He is not one to be slept on by any stretch of the imagination. Again, neither is Jimmy Lloyd. Not trying to not trying to dog him too much, but Blake Christian's on another level, and we were able to see that in this fight. So, good on Blake Christian, man. Keep proving me right on why I'm a big fan. I love it. I definitely love it. But I really enjoyed this next one, man. Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne. Now, it was actually revealed, and I didn't know this. Nick Wayne got signed to AEW. That is huge. That is very, very awesome. I'm super proud of Nick Wayne. He has a very nice lineage, and seeing him, branch off is fantastic. And I love the fact that he's still fighting in GCW as well. I mean, we see a lot of fighters that go up and do a lot of promotions and still come back to GCW, just because it's that kind of vibe, man. It's a whole different thing fighting here. You can tell that the wrestlers all actually enjoy here. That's not something that you see often, even in the bigger promotions, especially in the bigger promotions. You see a lot of switching out and dipping off. I mean, look at Cody Rhodes that just happened. We get a lot of questions on Randy Orton earlier. And it's just a lot going on in the WWE universe. But if you look at these smaller promotions, they're actually happy where they are. So maybe these bigger promotions should start, taking note if they can. I know, bigger pockets and bigger, restrictions may play a factor, and that might be why the wrestlers like being where they are a lot more. But, it works. It works in the wrestlers' favor. And if the wrestlers are happy, you get fantastic matches. That is a fact, and it shows all the time in GCW. But getting back into this Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne match, man, these two are super match. I mean, they're friends outside of the ring. this was kind of a slow burner, not gonna lie. When I was watching it, I was excited, then I got bored, and then I was excited again. If you watched it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was like, oh yeah, like these two fight, like they're both really good fighters. I'm excited to see what they do to each other. They're both friends, so they know each other's moves, yada yada yada. And then it was a lot of like showing love, slowness, kind of boring. And then at like the a little bit before the midway point, it was just straight up action and a little bit of hatred. I think it was a lot to do with Jordan Oliver not getting a call up. Or maybe, you know, like it was his friend leaving to another promotion. Not saying that he's leaving, but you know, he's not gonna just rely on GCW like Jordan Oliver is. And I think that held the fight a little bit. Does that make sense? Like I just had a feeling as this fight went on that there was a little bit of animosity, and you can kind of tell in their fight as it went on. And I mean, Jordan Oliver took this man to town. So did Nick Wayne. Don't get me wrong. Nick Wayne did a great job, but this was a show for Jordan Oliver. Jordan Oliver beat the hell out of out of Nick Wayne. To say the least is an understatement, man. This was crazy. This was absolutely crazy of from Jordan Oliver. I loved it because you don't like you kind of get to see it a few times in Jordan Oliver's career, and especially in these few matches. But he is always kind of overlooked, and when he wins, it's a surprise. It always comes as a surprise. But he's a very good wrestler, so I think that should not always be overlooked. And he really took Nick Wayne to town. You know, he's probably been wrestling a lot longer than Nick Wayne, and it really showed. But Nick Wayne is extremely talented. These two took turns at one point outside of the ring. Like most of the fight was them exchanging, trying to hit each other and missing. This was probably one of the best examples of this exchange happening was them like flipping off of the ring, trying to hit each other outside into the crowd, and everybody was missing until Nick Wayne finally did it. And the charisma of Nick Wayne, I mean, he's sitting back chilling, all the swag in the world because he finally hit him, sitting with the fans. This is a picture perfect moment. I had to get the shot, man. This was awesome. And you can kind of see the welts. You can see the welts on both fighters, man. These guys are really going at it. Like they were trying to beat the hell out of each other. And again, wasn't for that I think that lineage and that like inherited experience from Nick Wayne, he would have lost this fight. He just knew to kick his legs up, and he was just close enough to get that rope break before he tapped out. Because as you can see, he was defeated. He almost really lost. Oh, hold on, Keith. What you got to say, man? I gotta hear it, man. Because I'm glad you watched this one. He reminds you of Sean Wallman. Started out before his days in WWE. Young, talented. He's definitely gonna win a championship gold someday. I will go ahead and say that. He goes on the path, you know, going to the WWE, which I'm sure he will, just because of you know the history of his family and everything. He has a clear path to do it. And that would be super entertaining to see. I'm a huge fan of Nick Wayne already. You know, it's not like he fully relies on the name. He has great wrestling skills and great awareness. It's not like they're forcing the narrative or forcing that perspective on us. He's been proving himself. So he's earned going to the AEW. And wherever he chooses to go after that is all him. It's all him. You got to watch him, man. He's a great prospect, and he has all the makings of a champ. That's 100% sure. I'm with you there, Keith. I mean, you can see it here. He tried like this senton, and he failed at it only because of the savviness of Jordan Oliver. He knew to put his knees up, put it right at the back of the neck. Like like I said, man, this is a real back and forth, but I was surprised that Jordan Oliver didn't win this match. If I'm being completely honest, I thought Jordan Oliver had this in the bag because he was doing so good. But I mean, Nick Wayne is still crafty, and I think that lineage just pays off. That inherited skill, that inherited experience. He knew to get out of this Boston Crab that was sure to kill him because it was in the middle of the ring this time. No escaping. Nick Wayne knew that, was able to reverse it, got this pin on Jordan Oliver that he just could not escape, and got the win. I'm not mad at it. I'm just surprised, you know. So he ends up with the win, and it was fantastic. And of course, Jordan Oliver was not happy. He actually started choking Nick Wayne. And mind you, they're friends. So this was like a uh-oh, like, is this like the end of the friendship? Are they breaking up the friendship? But he calmed down. It might have just been the adrenaline of the fight. He calmed down. They shook hands and embraced, like they're still good. So, you know, that's what happens in such an intense fight, in such a close fight. It's hard to switch that off, I feel like. But, these two both have bright, bright futures. And I do expect Jordan Oliver to like have a very illustrious career as well, because these two are great wrestlers and they are so similar. I feel like the biggest difference between Jordan Oliver and Nick Wayne is the namesake. If we're keeping it a bean and like calling a spade, these two really resemble each other in and out. So if Nick Wayne got a call up, I 100% expect Jordan Oliver, if he chooses to move up as well, because these are two great prospects, two great wrestlers, and if they get into the main spotlight, they would thrive. 100%. No doubt about it. Because like if you look at what they're doing now in GCW, you already know what they're going to bring to WWE wherever they go. It would be crazy. It would be so fun to watch, man. And the only issue is censorship of the WWE. It's not the same as it was in the 90s. This gives you that 90s vibe, and I really do feel like that's the biggest change, and I think that's why wrestlers like it. It gives them a lot more freedom and a lot more, play to be themselves. Just maybe not as much money, but I may be talking out of my ass a little bit because I'm not 100% on it. But moving on to the next one, this one was also super fun to watch. Team Gringo, being ASF, El Gringo Loco, Jack Cartwheel, and Ninja Mac, aka Kamikaze. I didn't know that they were the same person. Call me stupid if you want to. Dude, I'm new to the indies. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. Cool. So that okay, I thought that they had the same antics, but I didn't know it was the same person. But I was super excited to see them all in the ring together. And then they faced the second gear crew, which was AJ Gray, Sanders, and Matthew Justice. One hell of a team to go against. If we're being completely honest, I already thought that the second gear crew would have it when I heard who was on the team. But I think that Team Gringo did the correct thing. And before the intro even finished, they went after second gear crew. I mean, like was throwing themselves off the top ropes before they even got in the ring, getting them out of here, brutalized them. Like not giving them a chance. Mind you, the bell didn't even ring yet. They're just peppering them before, so that when the bell does ring, they have a higher chance. This was crazy. El Gringo Loco, even, he's probably the biggest one in that team. He's flipping out the ring, and he hit AJ Gray like clean, flung himself accidentally into one of the people in the stands. Like it was just awesome to see. That's how close everybody is to the action. You also like there's no barriers. You get what you pay for, man. If you paid for that front seat, you better believe and be ready to take some hits. And she took it like a champ. She just laughed it off, pushed it off. I was like, I get back in there. So I love it. I love the fan base. I love the wrestling. I love everything about GCW. This is fantastic. This is a great promotion to watch. If you miss that intensity, get into it, man. I can't say enough about it. But then the bell rings, and you can see that second gear crew is kind of out of it at this point. Like it was a real uh-oh moment for everybody watching. Like, are they really gonna be able to put up a fight? Because clearly they weren't ready for the beatdown that they got, and now they're going to, Team Gringo is going to take advantage of it. And that's what they did. I mean, all four of them just doing high flying maneuvers off the ring. This was incredible to watch. Like, I've never seen something like this. All four of them just taking turns bouncing off of everybody. It was just so great to watch, man. But credit to the second gear crew. They were not going out like that, man. they were like doing everything that they could, to stay relevant in this fight, and they did exactly that. I mean, Ninja Mac somehow got caught midair by Manders and then got thrown, like smashed over the head, like with like this thrown door. Like it was crazy. He got thrown through this door. You see the chair hitting him in the back. Like Ninja Mac got murdered, and like the in the span of like 10 seconds. It was absolutely insane. And let's talk about Effie. Always impresses, man. I love watching Effie, and I think everybody does. It's super fun when we see Effie compete. Like, he just does these antics that are so hilarious and so degrading, but so cocky from him. They're flamboyant, and you wouldn't expect that to be done to you as a man. And it's like, nah, I'm gonna do that to you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. I love it. I think it's awesome. He just started humping ASF's face, and you can see there's nothing that he could do about it. He just had to take it. Another thing that I liked, I mean, I love Second Gear Crew. Again, I was rooting for them when I saw who was on the team. What about AJ Gray coming out as Ninja Black against Ninja Mac? Like that's what the promotion said about AJ Gray, because for some reason I don't know where he pulled this mask out. He got it on, got back in the ring, and he showed some tremendous athletic ability. Wow, flipping off of ropes, really taking it to Ninja Mac, beating him in his own style, bruh. That's awesome. This was great to watch. I had so much fun watching this, man. It was just it was a treat. I think that's the best way to say it, because you don't see AJ Gray doing that much. And I guess the mask gave him power, because this was really fun of him to do, because it was like anything that you can do, Ninja Mac, I can do also. So poor Ninja Mac, man, he was getting destroyed by AJ Gray. Like there was nothing that he had an answer for, because not only was he showing that agileness and athletic ability, he's also way stronger than Ninja Mac, which we already knew. So he gets the power bomb. Like Ninja Mac just got completely outclassed out there in the ring. So like there was really nothing that he could do. And moving on to Jack Cartwheel's performance, this was the highlight of his showing. He was about to do some aerial move in the ring. He gets pulled out. The opponent that he was doing it against gets pulled out, and he does this aerial cartwheel flip, whatever you want to whatever you want to call it, back into the crowd, into the ground, landing on everybody in his way. That's impressive. It's the fearlessness of it. It's not always the technique, because I feel like a lot of people can do an aerial before you can do a flip, but it's the fact that you're willing to do it against people that close to you, and knowing there's a hard surface. That's what makes you a great wrestler. And there was nothing but good fighters in this ring, man. It's amazing what these guys were doing all night long, man. You like the intensity. I can't get enough of the intensity. Like I struggle doing these ratings with GCW. I do, because I love it so much and I have so much fun with it. So I struggle to be impartial, because I have such fun with it, and it's such a new, refreshing experience for me, because all these wrestlers are so great. They make it so fun to watch. ASF, man, this was a move that I've never seen before. He's good at using his teammates to set him up for some high flying ability. And that's what he did here. He did this flip outside of the ring while El Gringo Loco like kind of throws him out. It's a very nice stunt. Like they have complete trust in each other. It's so great. It's such a fun thing to see. Kind of look like Rey Mysterio with it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think that's kind of the style. It's that luchador-esque way of fighting. And it's I feel like when Rey Mysterio was younger, because he got to experience that WWF, time, that's what this is. That's exactly what this is. I saw that in a lot of fighters. I saw it in ASF. I saw it in Ninja Mac. I saw it in AJ Gray. Like I saw it in a bunch of different fighters, and it's like I said, it scratches that itch, because yes, WWE is entertaining. Don't get me wrong. I love it for what it is, but I love GCW for what it brings back. It scratches that itch. It satisfies what we haven't been able to get, and even AEW sometimes struggles to give that to us. If we're being real, man, even AEW has to, pull back some. GCW gives it real. GCW gives everything the way it's supposed to. No matter if you like it, no matter how you feel about it, real. It gives you everything that you want, just like it did back in the 90s, man, in early 2000s. Like that's the feel I get, and that's why I love it so much. But I want to get back to Effie, man. This was hilarious. He did the double nipple twist going into this big leg drop. Like it's hilarious. This guy has these crazy moves that are just entertaining to watch. Kind of stupid, kind of silly, and then they make it work. They make it so that's like, okay, like, yeah, it was silly and everybody knows it was silly. But then they make it work out to where, it was an actual move. It was fun. It's lighthearted, but it's still intense. Great relief without taking away from the fight itself. Nephew's a great fighter. I have a great time watching him. So, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of everybody, honestly, that was in this ring. And honestly, El Gringo Loco almost won this, almost pinned Effie if it wasn't for the effort by AJ Gray slamming that chair into his back. Like it was about to be over with. And this what is it? This assisted pile driver, and that was the biggest turn the match. Honestly, once that happened, that was basically it because that set up this assisted dive bomb from Matt Justice. And once Matt Justice hit that, that was the pin. There was no getting back from that. They get the dub, a well-earned victory. Like I said, man, a very entertaining fight the whole way. And again, in the beginning, if you don't remember, they were clearly losing. They didn't even get a chance in the beginning. So the fact that they all came back, had great moments together, and were able to put on such a show, no choice but to, praise them for that and, give them that ovation like everybody in the crowd did. It was a fantastic fight. So, question, what was Effie thinking in this match? He's a clown. He's a clown, but he's good with what he does, man. I think that he messed up that one time and he paid for it dearly. But at the same time, that antics work a lot more in his favor than they don't. If we're being honest, because it catches everybody off guard. Like he's not about to do that to me, and then he does it to you. So it's like, it's like, what are you gonna do about it? There's nothing that you truly can do about it. That's what makes it fun. I love watching Effie fight. Like I don't know. I think that his style is so unorthodox, and I love watching unorthodox fighters because it's funny to watch people's brains kind of like switch and try to figure out what just happened because that's what Effie brings. Effie's an unorthodox fighter in terms of, like every other wrestler out there. So that's why Effie is such a phenomenon. It's fun and he makes it work for his wrestling style and it's great. He's a great wrestler and I see him having a very big career. He can honestly take his career and his gimmick wherever he wants to because there's room for it. So it's just how not gruesome, but how much does he want to do? I don't think you can hump people's faces in WWE no more. So he may have to dish that if he does get into the big promotions. But other than that, like, he's really good. He just does a lot of eccentric things that are sometimes a bit extreme, but it works out because it freaks everybody out in that ring. So I love it. I love it. I'm a big fan of Effie. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Reminds me of Rico in WWE when he wore the makeup. Yeah, kinda, but I think Effie is a bigger version of that. I think it's a more dramatic version of that. There was a few people in the WWE. I can't remember their names, but I do remember there was somebody that used to freak everybody out in the early 2000s, and I can't remember their name. I had it, and it's gone. If you remember it, leave a comment on it. But there were a few people that were able to, play on the honestly the masculinity and the toxic masculinity of the sport and we're able to exploit that and win these fights like it's a gimmick and it's a great tactic to do because you have all these macho men that are not expecting a guy to do that to them. So when it happens, they shit themselves, quite frankly, and they don't know how to fight. So it's always good, man. I love unorthodox fighting to just wrap that up. But I want to get into the next one, man, because this one was also this was a little funny to me. This was a great little side thing that happened. So the announcer told the fans that there was a bachelor party that arrived and we're watching, and all the fans booed. Like, could you believe that? Like, they were like, basically, they were saying that he made a mistake. Like, like the chant, you fucked up, like, just was going all around the ring just because he was getting married. Being a married man, I thought that was hilarious because hear that a lot from everybody who isn't married. So it was just funny because, like I said, you don't see fans or promotions doing stuff like that or making it so comfortable for fans to be this way, so raw and so rude. It's hilarious to me. But good on the guy, man. Like he took it in stride, just was like, oh, whatever. So congrats to you and your marriage, my boy. Don't listen to nobody. You didn't mess up. It's gonna be great. I think that being married is lit. I'm having a good time. But I just thought that this was a really funny like sidetrack, if I'm being completely honest. It was just still entertaining. It just gave you the chance to see what I've been echoing about, the realness of the crowd and the realness of the promotion. It's just so fun. This whole like setup that they have, it works, and it works perfect because it's these guys that they're like catering towards the intense brutal crowd that has been neglected from the major promotions. GCW just took them in with open arms and has been scratching that itch since, and I can tell. So everybody else that's late, just like me, come on in, man. They're taking everybody still. So get in while the getting's good. I gotta say, it's great over here. So saying that, Nick Gage makes his way to the ring, and everybody loves Nick Gage. Like again, I'm new, so Nick Gage to me is just another name. But I've done some research, and he's a titan. For being like 100, he is GCW, and that's why the fans love him. Everybody loves him. There's not a single soul that I have ever heard say that they don't like Nick Gage. Not in the comments, not in nothing. That's rare. And that's because of what he's done for the promotion. He's a great, great draw. And he brought a lot of realness out in his little speech that he did, man. He talked about, a lot of losses that he took in the past year. A lot of people close to him have passed. And, he said it's been a real rough year for him. A lot of like the hate comments that he has got into his head. He didn't know if he was going to keep wrestling because, his body was giving up on him. He's been in this for decades, 20 plus years. So he didn't know if, he was going to be able to keep going. And his love for the fans and his fandom just kept him going. And he promised, he made a vow, man. He's gonna be doing this now forever. He's gonna die in this ring. That's a hell of a promise. But you can tell he loves this. He lives this sport. He lives and breathes GCW. And he said from now on he will give 110% every single time he steps in this ring, just because of how much he loves the fans. He does this for us, and I mean, for the passion in his speech and the stuff that I've caught up on, it's true. He is GCW. So I'm a huge fan of Nick Gage. And it was real disrespectful that John Wayne Murdoch and Reed Bentley had decided to come out and, kind of soil that moment. Wayne Murdoch and hold on, I'll hold my comment because let me see what you got to say, man. Nick Gage, you remember on Dynamite last year, challenged Chris Jericho on the Five Labors Jericho Challenge. Yeah, yeah. No, I think I had just started watching again, so I actually did forget about that. And I mean, I think that Nick Gage is such a big draw that I don't even think that he realizes the power that he has outside of GCW. A lot of people are watching him. He's a great, great wrestler, and he's super entertaining, even on the mic. His mic skills are kind of par. Like, I'd say exactly par. They're not bad, they're not perfect, but it's just enough to where it's like he can wrestle, so I give it to him, you know. But he's fun. Overall, he's just fun and he's intense, and he just embodies GCW more than anything. I don't think that his gimmick works anywhere else. I think that him staying at GCW is the best thing for him. That's honestly like what I get from his character and his person, because I don't even think his character and his person are apart. I feel like what he says is who he is. You know what I mean? He's real 100%. That's what I get from him. If I'm being completely honest, I think that what he presents is who he truly is, and I love that. And I think everybody loves that. And I think everybody gets that vibe. But going back to John Wayne Murdoch and Reed Bentley, they walked out, and clearly Murdoch was feeling some kind of way about Alex Cologne, which isn't new news. He's been calling out Alex Cologne for the longest all year long. And Alex Cologne actually beat him earlier. And that hasn't stopped all this taunting because John Wayne Murdoch just wants his rematch more than anything else. And, you know, Alex Cologne had a match, I believe it was with Reed Bentley, but unfortunately, Alex Cologne is injured right now, and so Murdoch wasted no time to call shenanigans, basically, and dirt the name of Alex Cologne. All this whole spiel was about how, you know, we were all ready to fight, and Alex Cologne is a punk. He's just ducking. He don't want anything to do with him. He don't want anything to do with me. You know, blah blah blah. Real disrespectful. But it all capitulated into him, you know, calling out Nick Gage. He was like, "We're here now, and I know like they apparently have a fight tonight, but they were ready to fight right then and there. So they called out Nick Gage right there. Nick Gage wasn't ready to back down. You know, he's not one to back down from a fight, and he was ready. But you know, his followers are so diligent, smashed them all in the back with those light bulb. What are they? I don't even know what they are, man. But there were so many of them throughout this fight that happened. It's like light bulb. Can't even like what are like sticks, almost. You know, they're the ones that you see in them warehouses. And I don't know the budget people have that the GCW people have on those, but man, they have so effing many of these things, man. It don't make any sense how many light bulbs were brought into the ring after this exact moment. But to be real, like, well, I'm getting a little light tubes. Yes, that's what they're called, light tubes. Thank you, Keith. So yeah, light tubes everywhere. Light tubes were the name of the game from this point forward in every single match, basically. But getting into this one, man, it was let me remember these names. It was so much going on, man. Um, Orin, Orin Vite, right? Orin, shoot, yeah, Orin Vite. Wrote it down, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm still new. Oh God, I wrote so many notes. Raver, there we go. I'm so sorry I just disrespected G Raver because I love watching G Raver fight. I'm being honest. I just forgot his name. So G Raver and Orin Voigt just like, you know, they stepped in for Nick Gage and made it interesting. And Nick Gage was actually the one that jumped on the commentary and watched the fight from the booth. And that was kind of cool because you could hear his commentary throughout. But if I'm being honest, Murdoch and Bentley just were destroying these two. They were clearly not in it for the actual fight, and they were getting tore a new one with all the weapons in the ring, mainly the light tubes. I mean, you could see the dust smacking off them. Like, these guys were getting beat the hell out of. Like, there was nothing that they could do. They were just getting destroyed. They started putting like these glass panes in the ring as well. You could see it in the corner, setting it up. And I guess the promoters thought that it was appropriate to make this an official match, and the beatdown continued. I mean, they eventually, got something going, but man, like Murdoch and Bentley just were murdering these guys, having their way, showing why, they're so intimidating and so aggressive in the first place. And that's why people love to watch them. Some people love to hate them, but they're all big draws to watch. So I think that that was really what this match was for, was just to show how serious Murdoch mainly was of getting that match with Alex Colon. But we'll get into that as well, because you can see G Raver finally woke up and he was going off, taking on everybody, all two, like both men, and even like did like this crazy like headbutt move, just trying to get through beat Bentley, which was super cool to watch. I mean, like I said, he shows no fear ever. So it's always fun to see G Raver. I remember the first time I actually watched him was in this like battle royale, and he just was going crazy. Actually, it was this ladder match that they did, and he would rather lose and do more damage than win the match right then and there, and that made me a huge fan of him right there, because anybody that's just in it to fight, that's a big plus for me. Of course, we love to see our favorites win, but I also love seeing the damage. And this, just like I said, this has been scratching the itch. And you can see G Raver was just going off, like I said. The intensity was on full effing display. Like it was not, there was no shortage of it. He just like slammed Murdoch through the glass pane, and like it just was so fun to watch, man. Like every time though that his teammate Orin tried to get into the ring, they were right on him. I don't know what Orin had against them two, but they were not trying to let him in. Maybe he would have been a game changer, and he did come in eventually, but for the most part, this was a handicap match. If I'm being completely honest, it was just it was a beatdown, but you can see it from them. Like, oh, you're glad an eye wasn't taken out. Yeah, I don't think that it got that bad. It would have been like when Joey Murphy had his eye taken out by one of the ladders. Oh, I think I missed that. I think I missed that. But dude, if it happened, like probably sadistically enough, I think I would have. This would have been my favorite promotion. If I'm being completely honest, and I feel like anybody else could back me, because if it was that serious, that's some crazy stuff. Especially if the fight kept going, but I'm pretty sure that would have been it. I'm sure that's what happened with Joey Mercury. But yeah, like I'm glad nothing serious happened, but everybody was bloody. I know you can't really tell it in this shot, but there was seriously broken glass all throughout this ring. These guys put on a massive show. And here you see Bate right here, like slamming Bentley into this table. And then they set up a glass pane in front of him and slammed Murdoch on top of him. Like, this was awesome. This was one of the best parts of the fight to me. But you can see all this splash of glass. So if you were in the front row, you may be entitled for compensation, just off of how much like carnage was left from this fight. I mean, literally the spray of all the glass was everywhere, and these chairs were not too far behind. I'm telling you, it was fantastic. It got so bad that they even started pulling the chairs from the audience. These are chairs that people were sitting on. And they said, "No, F that. I'm taking this. This is getting used." And so they used it to like prop up like doors and stuff. It was amazing. And unfortunately, though, Oren got it used on him. Got hit with this like assisted pile driver kind of thing right through the table, and that was it for him. That was the match. Got pinned, and a final W in this, I guess. It was an intense match, to say the least. They got to scratch their own itch, because they came in looking for a fight, and they got one, and it was a bloody, brutal one, to say the very least. If you didn't watch this event, I won't even pinpoint this exact fight. All the fights were amazing, so you have to just give this one a chance, man, and give it a shot. Now, this was very interesting. Now, I think this is actually one of the commentators, and he called him out there because of all the disrespect that he was doing to Murdoch, and Murdoch slammed him in the back of the head with one of the light tubes. What? You go after one of the commentators? That's insane, man. He had him twitching in the back of the like in the ring, and like even the promoters and security had to bring him out because he was completely out. So I highly doubt he'll say anything to John Wayne Murdoch after this because yeah, I think he learned his lesson very much that Murdoch is not one that you wanna play with. But he continued to call out Alex Colon, who apparently was there. I was surprised. I didn't know that he was there. And even injured, he was like, you know what, I've had enough of this disrespect. Um, Murdoch is asking for it, so I'm gonna give it to him. And it took a whole lot of people to hold him back to tell him, not yet, you're not ready, you're not 100%. But he just was not having it, and he had to calm down. And he got a mic and really started humbling Murdoch. I mean, he let him know, I already beat you, and I don't know what it's gonna take for you to shut up and understand that I'm better than you. But the hardest bar that he said, the hardest bar that he spit in his tirade was he told Murdoch right there, and it was a fact. Said John Wayne Murdoch could fight every week, and Alex Colon could fight once a month, and he would still be better than Murdoch. Ooh, I know that one hurt. I know that one got him because that is a hard bar to follow. And if we're being honest, I mean, we haven't seen much of Alex Colon, but Alex Colon is one of the best there is in the promotion right now, and he already has beaten Murdoch. So honestly, like, is it wrong for what he said? No. And Murdoch is pretty dirty, so I'm not really a big Murdoch fan right now. And like you said, Keith, yeah, Murdoch could have been suspended and fined, but I feel like this was a work. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna diss it too much. I just feel like that just adds to the character of Murdoch because I don't think that the commentator would have even gotten up like if this wasn't scripted. So, but I'll forgive it. I will forgive it because if this pushes that Alex Colon fight, like we heard, they're gonna fight at spring break, and that's right around the corner. So when that fight happens, Alex Colon promises to actually hurt Murdoch. Whatever that means, I don't know, but I'm interested to see. That's going to be a really fun match again because now there's some real bad blood and some serious tension in that because Murdoch just wants that revenge. He wants that rematch to prove that he's better than him, and Alex Colon just wants to shut him up once and for all. So, however it goes, this is going to be one for the books, and you can bet your behind. I know I've already been cursing, so whatever. But you can bet it that this is gonna be a super intense match. So get ready for spring break, guys, because that's gonna be a super fun one. Now, let's get into the second half of it. Now, first, before I get into it, just so you know how much carnage there actually was in the ring, if you were watching it live, it took like 20 minutes for them to clean up what they did to that area. Really? 20 minutes to clean all the glass shards just so that other people could compete in a fair environment. Insane to me. I'm sorry. Like, that just shows you how many weapons, how many light tubes they used. It was wild, man. It didn't make any sense to me, like, how many weapons they used. You don't really see that, especially in the WWE. It's like a cap on it. You're not going to get that much brutality, and you're definitely not going to get that much blood. But we saw another match that was way more bloody, so I'm really excited to talk about that one. So let's get through this match because I'm still not really used to seeing these mixed gender matches, if I'm being real. But these are super fun to watch too. Oh, I'll pause. Hold up, what you got, Keith? Don't mean to be funny, but is Alex Colon related to Carlito? No. I don't think so. I really don't think so because I think they would have promoted. I don't think that he's related to either of them. But I think that he may like be inspired by them. But getting into this match, man. So we got to see Cole Radrick and Billy Starks go at it. And this was really an impressive match from Billy. I mean, anytime a woman really goes against a man and, proves herself, like that's an automatic win in my book because, there's that natural like advantage of the strength factor when it comes to men. But Billy herself is super strong, came out with this huge suplex off the rip on Cole. And that just had me like, oh, this is gonna be an actual match. Like she just was repeatedly throwing Cole over the ring and just like slamming into him. I think she did it like 3 or 4 times, like it was nothing. Like she had serious control over this match. It was very interesting to see because once again, you don't see that often. You don't see a woman and a man and woman fight for one, and you definitely don't see them beating the hell out of the man, especially right off the gate. But she was doing that, and it took Cole a while to get himself together, which he finally did and started doing, the slams and the suplexes and showing, the man strength or whatever, manhandling her. He pulled down his singlet, showed off the man boobs. He's clearly not that athletic. Like from his body type, it's not that impressive. But he was still doing what he had to do against Billy in this fight. He was really taking it to her. But Billy was not one to lay down. She was trying her hardest to do anything. And in this sequence, it looked like every hit wasn't really doing that much damage to Cole Radrick. But it wasn't anything I would say negative on Billy because you gotta keep trying, you gotta keep fighting, and eventually those hits are gonna do something. And I mean, this was one of my favorite parts. She just straight up hawks a loogie at Cole because she's tired of that disrespect. Like, I hate you too. Like F you. If you think that you're gonna get this win just because I'm a girl, you got me bent. Like that's what it felt like. So this was like a super macho move from her. Like I said, man, I was more impressed with her than I was with Cole. I mean, this was mainly a lose-lose situation for Cole, if I'm being honest. But the fact that Billy got the pin in such an impressive way after a flying senton off the top ropes, I mean, against all odds, like it really looked like she was gonna lose near the after the halfway mark of this match. Like she started out real strong, Cole got it together and was really beating the crap out of her. But then Billy came back and, really got herself, together and got the win. So I was very impressed with Billy's starts. That was an awesome showing. So, good on her, man. And like Keith said, pull it up. He needs to go to the gym more. Yeah, for sure. He needs to do something, man, because it looked like somebody from the street that they just pulled up. But he had some good wrestling skill. I'm not gonna do too much, but appearance wise, he wasn't that intimidating. I 100% agree with you. But wrestling in there, he did a pretty good job. Not mad at it. This was a very entertaining fight, and I'm telling you, man, like every fight was fun. There wasn't a lull in this stuff at all. I had a great time with it. This match I thought was the main event. Sure, a lot of other people did too. Just because, I mean, if you look at the promo pic, this is the one that they promoted. I thought that this was it. So I was like, oh, snap. Okay, we're already here. So, don't know who they are. It's Mascara Dorada versus Joey Janella. So, this was intense off the gate. If you've ever watched these two fight, you already know what these two are about. There's going to be high flying moves. It's going to be fast. They're going to run at each other. They're going to jump at each other. There's going to be kicks. There's going to be flips. Like everything that you could expect from these two, they definitely did in this match. It was very luchador esque, but had that American take on it because of Joey Janela. And even Mascara Dorada has a lot of Americanized moves in his arsenal too. But it's just that's really what what made this fight interesting to me. I also love the crowd involvement. That was super fun. Like he like dove into Mascara Dorada into the ring, like outside of the ring, started posing with him with the fans. Like, what is that, man? The charisma of Joey Janela is absolutely fun to watch. If we're being completely honest, he was dominating after a while, and you can see he's just talking to the camera. This was the shot that I chose just for this reason. Like, this was the best shot of the night to me. This was so fun. This match was fun. The charisma of Joey Janela is fantastic. Like, you can't help but watch him. I don't think anybody really hates him, but just how he acts in the ring is so entertaining. So you can't help but really like pay attention when he fights. And don't get it twisted. Mascara Dorada did his thing. Did this like double stomp right into the neck and chest area of Joey Janela, and that kind of turned it for a little bit until some props got involved. Then you got to see Joey Janela with a chair. He sat him down, just started peppering him with punches. Like, it was a real nice showing from Joey Janela, and it was nice hearing their moments from Mascara Dorada. You know what I mean? Like, you see this Hurricane Rana. I think the match would have been way over if he actually made him land on the chair, but he barely missed it. Like, missed it by a few inches and threw him like right next to it, and like he grazed it. It was so close. I think that would have been like the end right there. Let me see. It's amazing that Joey is competing in AEW and GCW. Yeah, he is. I think that that just shows that these guys who aren't in huge promotions, it doesn't mean that they can't do it. It's just that they don't want to. Like, think about that. It's like they would rather stay with the real stuff, or like, the more hardcore stuff, than really sell themselves in a promotion that doesn't fit their style. I love that. I don't have any issues with that, because that's what it truly feels like. It feels like, these guys have a code on what they believe wrestling should be, and regardless of the money, they're not going to jeopardize their code. And it's super awesome, because then you get these great matches all throughout. There's not a lull. Like, even Elimination Chamber had lulls. It was boring in some parts. There was bullshit involved in a whole lot of it. Completely honest. Like, there was a lot that, just wasn't up to par. GCW, there's never that kind of feel to it. It's always fun. It's so hard not to give all these events 5 stars, because they do everything perfect. So when it comes to people like Joey Janela and, probably Nick Wayne, who are gonna go to AEW and still compete in GCW, and other people that are doing the promotions like what's his name? Crap. Let me go back. Let me go back real quick. Give me 1 minute. What is his name? And everybody's gonna clown me because I forgot it again. Uh, Ninja Mac. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm still new, guys. I'm still new. But just like Ninja Mac, who's in like 4 different promotions, or has competed in different promotions like NJPW, Triple A, it's competed all around the world, and then goes to GCW. I feel like there's a reason for it. You know, there's a reason why these people stay at GCW, and it's because it's the best when it comes to the wrestlers and what they want to do. They put on a show, and it's an amazing show that they put on. It's super fun, and it's guaranteed. It's not like it's going to be hit or miss like other promotions, major promotions, especially. So, with that being said, man, I love it. I have a great time with it. But let's get back into the Joey Janela and Mascara Dorado match, man. You can see some more of this high flying ability, man. Like, awesome. I had such a great time. This is a Spanish fly up the top rope from Joey Janela. It was almost like this equally debilitating hit. Like, they were both hurt after this, if I'm being honest. Like, they were clearly both hurt, and they just did what they had to do to recover. They just were hitting each other with everything. But after Dorada hit this like Hurricane Rana over the ropes, slamming Joey Janela on the door that was propped on those chairs there, you can kind of see that was the biggest turning point. Once that happened, it almost completely debilitated Joey Janela, and Mascara Dorada was able to, take over from there. brought him back in, did like this helicopter spin into a body slam, got the pin, it was over. I was shocked. I feel like a lot of people were shocked, but weren't angry because, like I said, both of these guys are extremely good wrestlers. They put up in a great, great match, and it honestly could have gone either way. But Joey Janela was winning that fight for such a majority of it that it was honestly like, oh, he lost. Wow, like they'll probably run it back. It has the run it back feel. A lot of these fights did, but that one especially, I could see them doing that one again because it was such a great time. It was such a fun one. But if we're talking about the best match, we're talking about the main event, the one that I didn't know about, and I don't think anybody knew about. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was against Hoodfoot and Matt Tremont. Dude, you're talking about a brutal match. This is it. If we're being completely honest, this was one of the most intense, most brutal matches I have probably seen in recent memory. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. This was crazy, bro. It was insane what we were watching these two do to each other. It was very reminiscent of old school wrestling. The blood, the weapons, the sheer nonchalantness of what they were going to do to each other's bodies, including themselves, their own bodies. It was just, I'm going to hurt you and I'm going to make you quit. That's all I felt this entire fight. Super intense, super badass, just so fun. This was such a great callback to that old school style that I've been praising, man. So this was where it kind of all, where you could get a feel for how this match was going. I know you can't really tell in these slides, so I'm gonna just tell you there were so many light tubes on the sides of the ring, just in the ring for one. And then Matt Tremont walked out with a barbed wire bat. You know how this is gonna go. So as you can see here, Hoodfoot grabbed the bat first to try to attack Matt Tremont. He missed, and Tremont made him pay dearly, just started beating the crap out of him. And then, the same thing happened vice versa when Hoodfoot got the bat taken from him, and he just straight up bum rushed Matt Tremont to the ground. Now, everything kind of went awry when Matt Tremont left out of the ring and Hoodfoot tried to follow him, because when he tried to dive out to him, he got met with that barbed bat. And that's when the brutality truly started. From right before that, it was like, all hands kind of sizing each other up. But then that happened, and then the blood immediately started. I mean, like the barbed wire is a game changer. Once you see barbed wire, that means blood, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way around it. That's going to be a brutal match. So we knew what we were into as soon as we saw this hit. And I mean, Jesus Christ, dude, look at this shot. Like, he immediately went to opening him up. Yeah, like he said, two super heavyweight monsters. Yeah, this was terrifying. You can see the scarring on Matt Tremont's head. He clearly is not new to this. He's been getting like messed up and bloodied up in this ring, and this was his time to do it to Hoodfoot. And that was basically apparent in most of this fight, was just getting him into this intense match and this bloody, brutal match. That's all that it felt like this entire fight, man. It was crazy. This was kind of funny to me. It was a little silly. They got into like this little slap contest, sitting right in front of the fans. You see them sitting in the fans section, just slapping each other. He was like, no, you go first. So they just get to slapping each other like children, like who can slap harder. And then at the end of it, I think Hoodfoot lost himself a little bit and started like going on a rampage. Then Matt Tremont got up and flung him like 4 to 5 rows down into the crowd. Like, I mean, slid all the chairs. Honestly, I don't know how much people paid for these tickets, but if that was one of my seats, I'd be a little annoyed. I'd be like, bro, where am I supposed to sit? Like, if I had gotten up to go to the bathroom and get a beer, and now my seat is all the way in the 5th row, you got me bent. I don't know how much I paid, but I'm sure it was enough to not sit in the damn 5th row. So I'd be a little annoyed, man. But at the same time, this just shows the intensity and how close up all the action is. That as a fan, this is what you can expect, and you better move out the way because these guys are going to fight right in front of your face. So you better move, and if you don't move, they're gonna move you, and you're definitely gonna move when you see these two big giants coming at you the way that they were. But um, Hoodfoot was the first to actually use one of the light tubes, smashed it right on the back neck of Matt Tremont. And I mean, that just opened it up from there. I mean, you could see him opening up Matt Tremont's head, trying to make him just as bloody as Hoodfoot. I'm telling you, man, this was that match. If you were looking for a bloody, beat down, intense match, I know that there were a lot of people in the live show that we did for Elimination Chamber, all complaining about, this isn't the same promotion that we saw when we were younger. It's all vanilla, it's very predictable. This was not that. This was exactly what everybody said that they wanted. So everybody that was chanting for AEW to take over WWE, no. Chant for GCW to do it because GCW is that, man. I'm telling you. GCW will scratch that itch. It is so amazing what these guys do in and out. When have you seen two super heavyweight fighters jump on the ropes? And Hoodfoot was doing this. What is it? What is it called? Oh, give me a second. A Saito suplex. That's what it is. Several times did this Saito suplex, but this one was off of the ropes. You don't see two giants do stuff like this, man. They won't. They won't because they don't have to. But in this kind of promotion, they do have to because we call for that intensity. This is what we expect in fights like this. So this is exactly the stuff that I'm talking about, man. They brought a barbed door. What? They put barbed wire on a door, set it up, like it was just wild. I haven't seen stuff like this in years, man. Since I was like in elementary school, we haven't seen stuff. So this was really like, wow, this is actually happening. I thought this was done. I thought this kind of wrestling was over. We're in the vanilla stage. Everybody's all, butthurt all the time. We can do this. We're back to this. So yeah, man, like this is awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it backfired for Hoodfoot because then he started getting headbutted to smithereens by Matt Tremont, fell onto the table, and then got all 400 to 500 pounds of Matt Tremont to add to his troubles. Just bang right onto the barbed wire, and I know that hurt, man. So for him to keep going, like the fight kept going after this. I couldn't believe it. I thought the fight was over. How would it not be? Like you would not expect that people would continue fighting after this, but it did. Like these guys just kept fighting despite all the blood that they were losing, despite all the damage that they were doing. This was a long fight. This is not happening anywhere else but GCW, guys. I stake my claim in that. This was awesome. This was so fun. And it ended finally when Hoodfoot got the pin after several big suplexes, finally put him out. And as you can see, both men exhausted. He was able to just finally put him out, just lay it on top of him, got the pin. That was how the night ended. But man, it was so worth it. These guys laid it all out, man. And at the end, like the respect that they showed each other was awesome. I mean, I think that it felt like what is it? It was like somebody who up someone else. So it felt like Hoodfoot looked up to Matt Tremont, and Matt Tremont was giving him that, welcome to the big leagues kind of speech. He had everybody chanting Hoodfoot's name. Was like, only a few people can do stuff like this, and Hoodfoot is now one of them. And Hoodfoot was just so gracious, so thankful for that kind of acknowledgement that it felt really good. It felt good to be a part of it and watch that happen. So again, man, I love the respect that's shown after such great intense matches because you won't see that in big promotions. Big promotions are just here for the story. They're not really here for the respect between fighters. You don't see that often. So seeing that in this promotion so often is so great because that keeps it in the fight. It keeps the fights the main attraction, not the backstage drama. GCW doesn't care about backstage drama, honestly. There's a little bit like the Alex Colon and John Wayne Murdoch situation, but it's very rare that you see a lot of that drama. Everybody's cool with each other. It's just business when you get in that ring, and you better be able to bring it. And I love that. I absolutely love that because it is business. And the fact that they're able to separate that is just so fun. I love it. I'm sad that Grim Reaper wasn't in. Maybe we'll see him tonight. So I'll be looking for that because Grim Reaper is one of my favorite people to watch. But that's a wrap, man. That's all I got for this this event. I suppose I got to do my ratings. I'm dreading it. So you know how we do this, man. We do it from 1 to 5 stars. The 5 stars is fight forever. 4 stars is this is awesome. 3 stars, you still got it. 2 stars, what? And 1 star is boring. Don't watch it. I don't think GCW will ever get a 1 star or 2 star from me, man. But I'm fighting myself. But I think I'm gonna give it a 5 star anyway. I don't care. 5 stars GCW. This is amazing. GCW is knocking all the other stuff out the water to me, man. Like they're killing the game. Everything that they've done is so much better than any other promotion because it's all about the fights. All about the fights in every single fight. Although they're a bit long and a bit strung out sometimes, they're always intense. They're not boring. They just sometimes feel like they can cut it a little bit short, but it's not enough to where I'm not entertained the whole way. I love GCW. I think everybody loves GCW, and I think that it should get way more attention if it doesn't already have it. I just know I'm late to the game, man, and I feel like a lot of people are about to start paying attention to it if they haven't. This is a great promotion to watch, man. GCW made me a huge fan. I'm tuning into everything that you do, and you best believe I'll be back tonight. Now, mind you, I'm functioning off of like an hour of sleep. I watched so much stuff last night, and I know that like the WWE, like the Wrestleverse and MMA and everything, they're about to kill me in my sleep schedule. But the one thing that I promise you I won't ever miss is GCW and UFC and a few others. But because of that, I'll suffer because this stuff is amazing. You can't miss it. So with that being said, man, like, follow, and subscribe to Take It to the Ring, TTR Wrestling. Follow my little side thing with the All Real crew and my boys. Like I said, man, we're here for you. We're going to give you all of the fight news that you can handle and more. Between me and all of my guys and my crew and all my friends that are all involved in this, man, we all give our 100% into this and give you guys what you need to know to keep y'all involved. We give you guys the spoilers, the rumors, the questions, get you, still just as hype or even more hype than even the promotions can get you. So definitely tune in and keep coming in, guys. This is awesome, and this is just the beginning. And definitely leave some comments. Like you can see with me and Keith, man, we do a lot of banter. Keep it coming, man. I love talking to you guys. Let me know what you guys are looking forward to. What your favorite fights were. What other promotions you think that we should cover if we're not covering them. I don't know what other promotions we're not covering as a whole. But definitely, give it to me, man. I want to hear it. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. But until next time, guys, this has been another episode, rendition, whatever you want to call it, of Take It to the Ring. Stay tuned for tomorrow because we're going to get into the second part of GCW, and I will be right here to give that to you. But until then, guys, see John, and keep it real.